Hello, everybody. I know. I have got to get in there and answer. I mean, did that today. I went in and did some comments and stuff, answered stuff, or replied or whatever. Just went in there and played. But oh my God, you guys, there's so many. I love you guys all so much, but man, you guys like to type. Well, it's a good thing because we're talking, right? And that's a good thing. It's how you work things out. It's how you figure things out. It's how you get to where you need to get to. Hopefully this will happen. I'll tell you. Today, I was busy again, pretty busy. But I was listening to stuff on the road. So I was listening to, like, different videos and stuff. And I listened to the one Mama D's 1111 Tarot. I listened to hers about Just Ethan, I think is what it was called. And oh my gosh, I'm just one of my biggest fears was hearing what she was talking about, and it just nailed my ass. And it's something that I think we've all, well, maybe we've all, I don't know, maybe, I don't like to say entertained, but thought of maybe something like this. Because there's no blood trail. There was no bodies we've seen being moved from that house. The whole thing is just weird as hell. Makes no sense at all. And every time someone gets close to, or we think maybe they're getting close to something, they switch it up and pull another rabbit out of their hat. Why are they doing that? I just think back to one of the first things I remember being said from Steve about Kelley. And that was that she was a sleuther, like a true crimer. And that she had told him, just mentioned, geez, Dad, trafficking, that trafficking stuff's really true. I mean, I think it happens more than people even think it does. Something like something like that anyway. And it always freaking stayed with me. Because when people bring, like, that's kind of like the way that I guess I was taking it from him, the way she was saying it was maybe she wanted to talk about it. Maybe it was something obviously that's been on her mind that she's been looking at. And why would she be looking at it? Like, what would take her down that road? I know it took me down the Idaho4 road because I was, that's where I'm from. So that's why, that one, just drew me in so quickly and so powerful. But where did she get that from? Well, so what do you think about that? What do you guys think about that? Because the more I'm seeing, the longer this goes on, and the weirder it gets, and the more things I start connecting, as in students to students and such, and I start recognizing faces that I didn't even know about, like at the grub truck. I mean, that's a big one for me, and that's kind of freaking me out, because they're not any of the ones that we've connected before. I mean, I've connected, I think some of us have connected some of them to them, but not to the depth that these are being connected. And what it would do to, well, to the university, to other universities, to families. Doesn't excuse it. Doesn't excuse it at all. In fact, it's disgusting. I feel like people know these things are going on and they're letting it happen. They're letting a guy, you know, take the fall for it. And then I do this little turn, and I'm like going, okay, well, what if from the beginning I thought, all right, in the beginning I thought Brian was a like a undercover agent or something like that, you know, like that's my first go-to. That's what it was, and it was that way for a while. I've never thought he was guilty ever. I, you know, may have thought that maybe he, you know, maybe he did talk to those frats. Maybe they pulled him in and you know, he wanted someone to talk to, and never thought they would actually do anything like that. It never crossed his mind. And then, you know, just to have friends or to talk to, and maybe he did give him a little inside information on how to do this or how to do that, but not knowing that it was going to be something that was going to happen, right? I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying these are the things that have run through my brain that I've been, you know, pulling back and forth in there. And not for very long though, because it'll go and it'll come and then it'll go. And then I'll go back to the you know, the thing that this wasn't, that this was this is a bunch of mean kids. This was a bunch of angry people for some reason. They're angry because of something. And every last living time I go back to the school being the educator of the number one, like agricultural, right? That's one of the big ones. I go back to the cloning of the, you know, the mules, that kind of thing, which also brings me to the steroid concept. And then I go straight there to the sports and the sports teams and the possible, you know, what if it's steroids? That right there, with everybody, if you look in that group of people that we've all been looking at, aside from maybe, you know, Showalter and, but even Jake Shriver, even Maddie's boyfriend, he was, what did he play? He was a hockey or soccer, maybe he was soccer or rugby or something like that. You've got Adam, he does everything. You've got, they all, I mean, even Xana's coming up. She had a volleyball game like the day before or something like that. That's never been brought up before. I've never even know, you know, I knew that she would, you know, dabble in it, but I always thought it was gymnastics, right? And that was her go-to thing. Well, apparently they all fucking play volleyball. That volleyball, basketball, I mean, they're all, it shows all their high school, like I've gotten in there and seen all of them, the big stars in their high schools and all that. I mean, all the ones right there. You've got Molly, you've got Grace, you've got Liz, you've got Katovich who boxes and whatever else he does. You've got, I mean, wrestlers, tons of wrestlers. Right on down to Emma Bailey, you guys. Yeah. Wrap that around your head, man. Get that in there, baby. Because that when I saw that, I was like, okay. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that. But Emma, I don't know who the Cindy is that she grew up with her daughter or whatever. I don't know if maybe that Emma grew up in a household that didn't, you know, her mom and dad weren't there, or there was issues, or I don't know. I don't know if Cindy was her mom and had Emma from another, you know, another man, and that's why she hangs out the house. I don't know. I don't know, because I cannot figure out who the hell her mom and dad are. I mean, it's been kind of thrown around here and there, but never has it been, you know, just nailed down, and that's exactly what it is, you know, for sure, you know. No, haven't. But she does look a lot alike. She does look a lot like both of those, both Aidan and Cindy. So then you've got Lake, who comes in, who, you know, because Cindy marries again. I mean, I don't know how many times she's been married, but for sure twice. You know, she's got, well, I don't know if she married Aidan's dad, but I just figured out who he was, too. Like, he just popped up accidentally, like, when I was looking through, like, a Facebook thing. Not even on her, I don't think it was, but, oh, I know what it was. I was, Oh yeah, I was looking at Cindy's old, you know, like her old high school picture cheerleading, because she's a cheerleader. Cindy, the mama, she teaches and instructs cheerleading and dance, and she does for like young girls. I'm talking like young girls. And this is something that's always bothered me. I do not like them parading those young girls around with all that lipstick and all that makeup, and they look like, I mean, half the time they look like they're stuffed in their top part, and they're just meant to be so sexy and so, you know, flirty and all that kind of stuff. And it just makes me ill, because in my mind's eye, that is somewhat of a grooming technique. And I'm not saying Cindy's doing this, don't get me wrong, because cheerleading is a huge thing. Also cheerleading, though, in some of my, I have got a couple videos I've already made, so I will talk about this. But if the girls are going to start out like that, and if they're not confident and they're not sure of themselves, and they don't have a you know, a good family life to go to, that's you know, that's on the up and up, and like, you know, just, you know, legit, you know, just like safe, then I believe these girls take a different rank. They go a different way, you know, they go down a different path a lot of times. Not always, but sometimes they do. And sometimes if they go down that path, like say going to be a dancer, but on a, you know, a pole type thing, or even, you know, more, you know, who knows, but that type of situation. Even I've known some girls who danced who were like really good, and they put themselves through school. They never had any issues. They weren't, they never did escort, never did anything like that. They kept it on the up and up, you know, kept it on the, you know, clean and, you know, straight line. It wasn't anything nefarious. It was just, and dancing, you know, dancing's a, you know, it's a beautiful thing. And so I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying that when I see where Emma is now, if indeed this is where she's at, how did that get, did she get there through this? Because she's obviously made some bad decisions. And it seems like she's still with a bad decision. You guys know who I mean, you know, a couple initials there, you know, DR. I mean, he's a time bomb. He's volatile. He should be in prison. Yet, he's not. And yet, he clicks like and comments on, you know, the mother's freaking posts on her Facebook page. He's like part of the family. Why? I mean, the Chapins have an issue with Xana, which is unbelievable to me. Like, I just saw part of an interview that I had never seen before. And I just wanted to reach through that screen and just slap them both upside the face. I wanted to just, like, say, are you kidding me? They're so judgmental. It's disgusting. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. I truly am sorry for their loss. I am so sorry. But what I saw and I heard, I was taken back. And it made me feel fucking sad for Xana and Ethan. Because if you think about that, you think about, oh, their life, you know, like, oh, we're so close and we did all this together and we did all that together, like they say. Well, did they? Was it really that good? Because I remember thinking that about my childhood, and as I grew older, and I got even older, and I look back, mine was fucked. And I never even knew it. I knew something was wrong. I mean, somewhat, but still I didn't know it I did not know. I might as well just say I did not freaking know it. And I'm just wondering who those people are. I'm wondering who all of them are. How are they going to find anything about if they cremated the bodies? And you can't, I mean, why did they do that? Why? Ethan apparently was the only one that they buried. Nobody even really knows that. There's no one knows anything. We don't know anything. Nothing. Zip, zero, nada. The only thing we do know, in my opinion, is what we see on those body cams. And some of what we hear, but we can't even take that into account. But what we see on those body cams, that we do know. And that tells a story all on its own. And it's scary as hell. Really scary. Even some of the things that those officers say at the end. She said, did they get her? Or they got her? You can see her? You can see her? Or whatever. What was that supposed to mean? What was that supposed to mean? Why were they there in the first place? What were they doing? Why were those boys afraid of a fake person? Well, hell, in all the police reports, they're rampant right now. There's calls right and left about fake people. And what about the mailmen that are finding rubber banded IDs, like a stack of IDs, like 5 or 7 at a time in mailboxes, just IDs? What about all those abandoned cars and those animals? Where are the people going? Where are they going? This isn't the movie Left Behind, where they just rapture up. I mean, even after, on November 13th, that day, or the next day, no, that day, there was cars reported in the middle of the road with the door open, just left there. One of them was even running. Where are they going? What is happening to them? And why are they being so quiet about it? I mean, are they part of it? Is there some big secret organization, like under the ground, like the slee stacks on Land of the Lost that suck you down to the ground and the freaking sand, the black sand, and you can't, into the tunnels? What the fuck is going on? Because something's going on. You got kids crawling out of trunks. You've got calls coming in for wires down off of King and Queen Road, and then when the firemen get there, unable to locate. Why? Were they wired? That house is wired. I don't have any doubt in my mind that house wasn't wired. But who's responsible for all of this? Who's doing this? And how are they being allowed to get away with it? I mean, didn't Chief Fry have control over his officers, over his men? What the fuck were they doing out there at that time of night and doing what they were doing? Was he there? How does this happen? There's records of this. I mean, they were even wrong on their times, right? The timing wasn't even right. The body camera was off. There was chunks cut out of that, so there was pieces cut out even on the noise complaints. Like the knocking on the door. Well, we knocked on the door. Well, some people thought that they actually did knock on the door, because when they went up to the sliding glass door and knocked. There was no noise, and then when they walked away, they could hear a knock, and they thought it was Green down below knocking. Well, it wasn't. It was because they cut a chunk of that freaking cam out of there. That's why. What officer leans up against your outside pole with his leg crossed over the other, looking at his watch, pointing, using, hand directions, motion signals, while the other cop's looking around, saying, talking about property, and, you could get away with this, and where's the stairs, and oh, well, if they don't answer, we'll just come back, the next day you work, or, whenever they're home. Well, what? Seriously? Seriously? I would like to, I might just have to do this. Find, in fact, I think I know one. I heard an interview with a police officer, and he's retired now. But he was like he felt so genuine to me. I think I am going to contact him and ask him if he will look into these cams, into these noise complaints. And I want to know what he thinks. I want to know about the ride-along guy.